Happy Sunday, Scholar friends. Happy Sunday. Wiley here. Checking in live from the house with the Wiley Cavern. Call it different things. It's Sunday. It's a gray Sunday, gray and rainy day here in Illinois. And I am just sitting here having coffee. I guess I'm giving the weekly recap. I've tried to make several videos, but it hasn't gone well. I don't know. It's been, if you ask me how I've been doing emotionally, I've just been feeling, I won't say off, just ebbs and flows. It started Thursday. I, even before Thursday, I have been going to the gym because I found out after I had to register late that in order to get my, in order to in order for the grad college to finalize my preliminary exam results, I had to register. And so because I registered, that meant I was charged student fees, which gave me access to the gym. But I mean, I've also been gone, on and off. So I didn't get back here until like July 1st. And so I started going to the gym. And I was doing okay. And of course, it was exhausting going back to the gym because your body's like, wait, what's happening? What's going on here? And then last week, it was like last Thursday, I was trying to go. It was like one of those days you get up in the morning, you put your gym clothes on, you know what I'm saying, after your shower. And I had to go to the post office to mail my wife back a package that had come here. And I Ubered over there because the package was big. It wasn't small enough for me to just put in my backpack and just jump on the bus. So I Ubered over to the post office. And when I got to even on the ride to the post office, I just had these thoughts in my mind that I had left something on. What? I don't know. The oven, the light in the den, and I had knocked it over. It was just things that are just, how if you've ever had the experience of your mind just having all kinds of things. You left the stove on, you you didn't lock the door, you didn't, just all kinds of things. And I was like, I know I'm a person that double checks and over checks, locked doors. I did not cook anything the night before, so I knew that the oven was not on. But I just felt like I needed to be back home. But at the same time, I was like, I gotta get this package off because, I had told my wife I was going to do this, and we had already texted about it. So I needed to do that to get on out there and go do it. And then I got the package off. I printed the receipt. They gave me the receipt. I took a picture of it and sent it to my wife so she knew that it's coming. And I went and got me something to eat. And then I was like, hey, I probably could go to the gym. But I still, even while I was trying to, eat my little chicken sandwich, I still had those thoughts in my mind. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to go back home. And I did. And I went back home and I came back home and everything was fine. The lights in the den were off as I had left them. The door was locked. The oven was not on. I was like, oh my God, I don't know. And that was my Thursday. And then, so it just felt like off. And then I was like, oh, I'll go Friday. But Friday didn't really work out for me. Uh, it just didn't. And then it's like Saturday, I felt blah, and I had to also felt weepy. Uh, I had watched a video. Teak Milan was talking about his mom passing away, and then I had seen a video of Tasha Cobb talking about her dad, and her dad had passed away, suddenly from a heart attack. My father also was the suddenly person, and they said it was related to a heart attack or just cardiovascular issues. And I was just crying. So that's been my weekend. That's been my experience of week. So Saturday morning, I'm pushing because I went to get a haircut. I should have used the dye that I bought to dye my hair, but I just didn't feel like it. So this gray that you see, I'm pointing to the wrong side. Wait, I can't tell. Anyway, I always get it wrong on this camera. Is it this way? Yeah, I think it's this way. Yeah, over here. That silver that you see, that hey, it's part of my life. Because I did buy dye. I bought some hair not dye, hair color, brown, but I did not feel like being bothered with it. I went to the barbershop yesterday. I was telling my wife I went to the barbershop. And I didn't go to the barber that I normally love to go to because sometimes you have to text back and forth to figure out what time you can get over there. And I just didn't feel like going through all those texts. And so I went on Booksy and I booked this particular barber. And sometimes he does a great job. And then sometimes I look at my hair and go, I don't know. And I guess I'm at the I don't know. But you know what? I went with it. I got my hair cut. I washed and did my hair last night. I'm not stressed out about it because I'm headed to Maryland and then my friend's wedding. And guess what I know? I can go to Cardo before the wedding if I need to. So it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And I could take the color with me or I could buy a new color because my wife has offered to do my hair again before the wedding. So it could work out. Life and the experiences that we face. I don't know, grief is one of those things where you just be like, ugh. I get now why my Baba says hold space for it, or how they hold space for grief in the morning when they have their devotional time or whatever time that they have in the morning, or just holding space for a period. I get why Baba says that because you just never know when it's going to show up. And I think when I was thinking and journaling, like, what is it that I felt most? Um, I think for me, what comes up most is I just wish my dad was here. I wish he got to live a long life. Yet there's also, tension because the tension is that I think about, when I think about my relationship with my father, it's a mix of love, it's limits, it's care, and it's tension. And I say the tension is because my father was never accepting of any of my identities as gay, as trans, but we talked about research. And I sometimes wonder, if he was still here, how those conversations would go. Talking to him about what I'm studying, talking to having conversations about, interviewing Black trans men, being a Black trans man, how that would go. And not from a space of seeking validation, because validation is for parking, or seeking affirmation. But I think sometimes what I still struggle with my mother is being seen. It's not necessarily I need you to accept me. I need you to see me. And not just in the version that you prefer or the version that I was. I mean, I think sometimes when you look at people's lives, or specifically, my life, I can't speak for nobody but me. I know I wore masks. I wore masks because it wasn't safe. I wore masks because sometimes I didn't even know who I was. And then now it's like, oh, well, I really feel like I know me now. No, I think one of the things that sabbatical time has given me most is time to really know what I like and what I don't like, what I think and what I don't think, what I'm comfortable with and what I'm uncomfortable with, and all the uncertainties and insecurities and everything in between. In a way that when you're working every single day, you don't have time to hear that or you don't have the space for that. I'm not saying that means I'm perfect or have everything figured out. Absolutely not. But the awareness is greater, you know. So just thinking about that. And I think even though I don't necessarily believe in ironies, I find it interesting because when you think about like my research study, I'm studying Black trans men digital experiences. One of the things you talk about is affordances and constraints in online platforms. And affordances just means, this platform gives you the ability to do more things than you did before. And a constraint means a limitation. And I think the irony is, I don't know that just in terms of online platforms. I know affordances and constraints in terms of relationships. I'm just saying, it just blows my mind. But I think that's what Baba used to say when he would say, excuse me, that the teacher always lives the life of the lesson. Or the teacher always lives the lesson before they give it to others. So, of course, being a teacher, I would live that lesson in everyday life. Yeah. Blows my mind. Blows my mind. Anyway, so I don't really have anything else that I have. I'm just sitting here today, drinking coffee, relaxing, getting ready to do I'm gonna watch some church online. And I'm also going to work on some library research because I really need to finish that. And that has been a struggle. Not because for one of the projects, it's not a struggle at all. I love that work. And I've often felt when you do research, it works better when you enjoy what it is that you study. If you don't enjoy it, it comes out in the work and it's a struggle to do. And for one of the studies, it's because I'm no longer interested in that anymore. I'm just not. So, but you still got to get it done because that's a requirement. But it has been a struggle. It has been a struggle. So I'm going to work on it a little later today because we got to get this work done. I find myself organizing my life in terms of must-dos. What is an absolutely must-do? What it must focus on. And that's where I'm focusing on that a little later. I made me some coffee. Is it Cafe Du Monde? Yes, it was Cafe Du Monde. I hope I'm saying that right. I love that coffee. I have just a little bit left. I like that. I just feel like I needed some strong coffee today. And I guess I'm gonna make me something to eat. Cause it's hard to write when you're hungry. It's kind of like your ideas be like, I don't know what you want from me. So and I have one more interview this week. It's a podcast, so I'm really excited about that. It's the final interview. And I feel gratitude because if you would have told me in March that I would have talked to 30 plus people, I would have been like, I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about. So it's amazing to have a plethora of people to code their responses and to select for the dissertation because I'm not going to be able to do all of them for the dissertation, but that is totally okay. What else did I do yesterday? I went to potluck. I just showed my face because I didn't have anything that I was bringing. And I was just over on campus and I was like, I don't really see a lot of people that I go to school with or because I'm not in classes anymore. And it's not just because I'm on sabbatical, I'm not in classes. So a lot of time, and being on sabbatical, I was like, I think the last thing I went to was when Dean Knox, when they had the reception and the celebration, the reception, and the I guess symposium it might not be the word for it, but the announcing of interim Dean Knox. I went to that, and so that was I think the last thing that I was on campus for. Yeah, so I want to say that was April. Yeah, I think. Don't get me. I feel like I've lost months, but other than that, like I said, I don't. And then going to my advisor's writing group. I'm not on campus daily. I go sometimes, yeah, but not a lot. So it's been an experience too in learning my rhythm, finding a rhythm, and that it changes day to day because it's not necessarily confined to a physical space in a way that it is when you're working every single solitary day, even though I am working every single solitary day. So that's been interesting. And also in the good news, I found these books that I had lost or I could misplace. I couldn't figure out what I did with them. It was In the Wake by Christina Sharp. I cannot say how wonderful that book is. And then The Undercommons I know Fred Modem is one of the authors, but he is not the only author. And I had misplaced it, and I could not figure out what I had done with it. And I found it last night, and I was so grateful. So, because that was another thing that my committee member was saying about adding to my dissertation. And Modem was one book that they had mentioned because the other I'm reading. I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't because it's blurred, but it's Black and Blur is the book I'm reading. So we'll talk about that another time because yeah. Anyway, so these are like Wiley's Research Chronicles. I'm telling you about things that happen in my life and my feelings. All thoughts and expressions are my own. I hope that it helps you or shares how it can be when you're living life every day. And I hope that you're doing whatever you can to take care of yourself and be your best self. So that's all I got. And I'm going to post this because I have videos that I just have not posted. So I need to get on that. But I hope you take care of yourself and be good and kind to yourself. Be gentle with you. Wherever you may find yourself, be gentle with you. Peace. Thanks for listening.